What's happening, everybody? Happy Monday. Here with my partner, Ryan Walsh. My name's Ian Walsh, Hard Money Bankers. I know you already know that because you're a loyal listener and you've been following the show every day for the past month. And we are specifically looking at the markets because the stock market is very highly correlated to the real estate market. We're just in a day and age where they're just not separate beasts anymore. But the real estate market typically moves a little slower than the stock market. You know what I could do, right? If the world doesn't end by the end of next week, I should bring up a real estate chart. I can bring up a stock market real estate chart, like a REIT, it's called, and it'll kind of show like if it's more directly correlated to real estate, and you can see if it's like, if real estate is slowing and stuff. Like last time I looked at it, actually, it was like a big doji candle off the top. Like there was clearly a slowing coming on the weekly. And I think we've seen that at this point. I mean, have you noticed in your day-to-day actions that things are sitting a little longer, actives are popping up a little more, and, properties aren't selling straight off the press?
Yeah, I mean, I messaged you yesterday saying I'm getting a lot more price drop emails, right? Like mostly wholesalers, right? It's where it probably first starts because they'll be the first to cut their prices. But those were basically non-existent for like a good 5 months there, right?
Yeah.
If anything, it was like price increase, right? But yeah, I mean, I think it really would be really interesting to look at the data, the MLS data, right? Because right now it's kind of anecdotal from what you and I just observing because we're in that MLS every day, multiple times, right? But what is the actual data showing? Does it confirm our kind of our insights here? That and mortgage rates. I think those are the two things you can kind of like directly compare what's going on in the market and what those numbers are doing, either inverse, however they're correlated, whether inversely or not, right?
Yeah. So the mortgage rates will be interesting because that is another back. So right now we're looking at, actually, I'll bring up the charts. This is from, it's already up. So this is from last week, from Friday. I just, there was no need. Today we opened up, we've closed above the war line on Friday. Actually, I'll make a new chart tomorrow, but closed above the war line on Friday, and we're hovering on the kiss of death area right up in this area right now, kind of breaking out above it. So it looks like the bulls are back in town, or they're making their move, which means the next stop is all-time highs, right? Remember we said if it closes over this line, then to confirm it has to be over this line. This is all-time highs right here. But there was one other confirmation we've been stating that needs to occur as well, and that's the backdrop of the fundamentals have to also align. So if it goes to all-time highs, but the background noise is Evergreen is imploding and China's being destroyed, and or it goes to all-time highs and it's like supply chain is a huge issue and people don't have food, something is immensely not correlated correctly between the chart and the backdrop of what's coming. So then if you get into that scenario, what you typically end up with, and I'm not going to go there yet, but if it happens, you'll get like a move up here, and then it starts to look like do one of these guys where it goes up and then down, and now you have a huge double top. And usually what happens is what we'll pay attention to is when we get to the highs over here, we're going to want to see if there's as much volume that hits those highs as there was here. So volume means participation and belief in the markets going up and continuing up. So right now, everybody says, okay, the Fed is just printing money. So no matter what you think, the Fed is just going to print money and bring it to new highs. So what you want to see then is as we hit these new highs, you want to see volume, which will bring up volume, which is commitment to a position being higher. Because if it's not higher, what you have is a scenario where we call it like a low volume retest, which basically means price goes up and it goes, all right, do we want to be here or not? And if you have less people participating than you did in the last high, there's less commitment to the same price. And if there's less commitment to the same price, you go down and you make a double top and then all hell breaks loose. So I'm not saying that we're there into that scenario yet, but if we need to diagnose that when that starts happening, we will. So, but right now, it looks like the triangle got blown out and to the upside. So, and it looks like we are not celebrating Black Mondays, recognizing the anniversary with a giant crash. So we're gonna have to do this with Mark Weiser's crystal ball. Okay. So we still have one more week left, which would be correlating to right about here. So, and that would be for the fun of it. But I still think, I mean, the background noise of, like you said earlier, interest rates going up, that slows money across the economy. So we know that's coming. And that also knocks lenders' doors shut and stuff like that. Supply chain issues are real. I mean, at this point, it's in the headlines, right? Like everybody knows what supply chain is. I'm starting to get emails, people saying, "Oh, I have supply chain issues." Earnings, we have bank earnings last week, which are big. We have other earnings coming out over the next month for like other companies as well. So those have to be really good. What are your thoughts, right? What do you got going?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, the biggest mover in the market is uncertainty, right? And the uncertainty hasn't hit with any of that news yet. And maybe it'll just go away and dissipate, right? And the uncertainty never hits. We're back at all-time highs and carry on, right? Business as usual. I think as long as it's there, it's something we as lenders will keep our eye on, especially the China. While we're seeing our market go up right now, if you're following any of the Hong Kong or anything like that, they have the opposite story right now. They're hurting a little bit. So it's the question of, is that going to impact our markets? I think it's still there, and as you said, just kind of looms over it. So, I mean, right now, just reporting on the game we're watching right now, Bulls have control. Bulls have the higher score, so to speak. Between the boundaries we drew, and we'll just report back on that. That said, the storm is still there, still in the Atlantic Ocean, and we'll keep an eye on it to see if it moves inland at all.
Yeah, I think I was just scanning the headlines. I guess is Bill Gates. This has nothing to do with anything. This won't do anything to the markets. But is Bill Gates getting in trouble for harassment? Did you see anything about this?
No.
Okay, that's a headline.
He's single and he's already started the harassment.
No, they're saying from like 10 years ago. Like,
oh geez,
somebody was like, they're going down that road. Just trying to see if there's anything else.
I mean, honestly, if something comes out of the whole Evergreen China thing, I'd say this is like the biggest cover up, like for our markets, because like in my opinion, that's pretty big news, and we should be aware of it. But it's getting like buried, basically, right?
Well, I'll tell you this much: if that doesn't affect the world economy like immensely, I'm not convinced that the world economy is as connected, even close to as connected as people say it is. It's the event that, like, if this were to happen, this is like the 2008 event for us, except way bigger in our country. So like, if we don't feel it, I don't believe the world markets are as connected as people say. I just don't.
Yeah, totally agree.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so just so just looking for any more. Colin Powell, with us, Secretary of State Colin Powell passed away. Former Secretary of State. They're
really?
They're saying it was COVID complications.
Oh shit.
Just give me a second. Let me see if there's anything else important. Wow, markers. People are going nuts on oil. I was watching oil this morning.
A lot of oil talk. It's $3.50 where I live a few days ago, so it's going up.
Yeah, I mean, I remember back in 08, 09 when it became like, there's some places that were over $4 a gallon. I mean, you get to 4 and 5. That's when companies start, I noticed, shutting down. I did read an article recently about like a fertilizer firm or something. Like, fertilizer firms were starting, like, they couldn't produce anymore as it creeps up. But like, I think your main trucking companies, when you start reaching around $5 a gallon, start to shut down. If you were to go like double that or something like that, it would be crisis mode. Are you guys still creeping up, or are you just sitting at 350?
Creeping up slowly.
Oh, really? Okay.
It's still going up. Yeah.
Uranium stocks or
to me, everything just indicates, pre Evergreen news. Everything you're saying just sounds like normal headlines to me.
Yeah. Everything. Yeah. It's just back and forth right now. It's like, I feel like right now the default for like when there's no, like we need a headline to take COVID out of the news, because I feel like what happens is, like the event is over when they're just like COVID this or COVID that, COVID this or COVID that. Right.
Mm-hmm.
And
When that
then,
becomes the main news again.
yeah, it's just like the baseline, and then other things pop up, and then COVID goes to the background. We're due though for like a big one to like a year long, or like a real big one. But I still think this is it. I'm still not completely convinced that this was the only move that we're going to see out of this. Like, I don't understand how we didn't go and take a peek at that bigger trend line. And again, we've said it 1,000 times, but it doesn't make sense at the backdrop of this. Like, when the trade wars with China, they were resolved. There was a bold move with Trump to do the plunge protection team, but then the trade wars were solved, and it went so it was done. Like, COVID had kind of a vaccine thing, well, whatever. There was like some solution to it. 2008 had a solution, right? 2008 had, okay, we're going to print stimulus money, and then the banks are going to have the amount of money they need to cover. There's been no solution here to Evergrande or supply chain. It's just, there's no solution yet, right? So I don't see how a solution can't be presented with the charts not reflecting it properly. I mean, if we're going to look back on these charts, if this were to tank from right here, you go, oh, I can see, like, you look at those bars and you go, yeah, we saw that. Like, this is just like COVID, it's like here, these huge, crazy bars. But
I would say the next few days are going to be the differentiator between COVID and this, right? Like we have to watch this all the way through October.
Yeah.
But if it keeps going bold, then I guess the answer, print money, whatever the issue is, it'll bury it.
I guess some solution will come up. I mean, the solution can still come out, but the last place that we have to really look at this one is going to be all-time highs and more volume. So if this hits more volume, all-time highs, it means the news of solution is soon to follow. That's if it hasn't already come out, right?
Yeah, but you're also saying that the problem is clear and evident, though, and I don't think it is.
I don't think the problem is clear and evident. I think there are several problems that need to just be addressed. I don't know that they are the problem, which I don't know what the problem would be. But I think when you go to all-time high, the thing that would sling this to all-time highs with like volume would be a solution to Evergrande, a solution to supply chain. You get near those all-time highs, and then they have like a clear solution. The market believes in it. The market's confident, and it rips through.
Right.
But if you get up there and it's like you're at the all-time highs, but they're about to tell you, we don't know what's about to happen with Evergrande next, because like we're still like a week out from like what starts to happen with Evergrande's default, right?
Yeah.
So there's a lot of like what if left. But if I'm a betting man, in which I technically am this morning, and we were, or yeah. You are, or were, was the you play with the charts are telling, and the charts say up right now. So
yep,
that's where we are.
Cool.
All right. Till tomorrow.